It's a real pleasure for me to wrapping up the first day of How to Web. In general, it's also my first time in Romania. I'm really excited to talk about a topic which is really close to my heart as well, which is AI-powered design to really unlock creativity and productivity with AI. I've brought a few examples about Canva and how you can use it for the future to become more efficient and creative in the future, which leads to success of your startup, company, or your personal project. Sorry, I forgot the clicker. And the reason why this topic is so important to me as well is because we are living in a time where everything is moving super, super quickly. We are getting new information and new content anytime, and we need to be as efficient as possible. On the other hand, visual design has been, a decade ago, it still has been something which was only accessible if you have the technological skills to really make it happen. Currently, an AI empowers all of us to really bring ideas into reality. I'm really sorry again, the clicker is not working. But I will introduce myself in the meantime. I'm Laura, I'm based in Vienna, and I'm leading operations for international expansion at Canva. To give you a little bit of history, also why the AI topic is so relevant and important to me. Previously, I've built up the generative AI department at Canva, which is basically the department where the majority of the AI features you're seeing in our product today are developed. And for us at Canva, it's really important that AI feels really natural to use and can be easily implemented in your normal processes and processes and daily work. Yeah, how many of you know Canva already? Almost everyone, which is really good, and I'm really happy to hear. But I still want to give you a little bit of background because I know at other events where I've been, many people are using Canva and they are loving it. But I don't know the the history of Canva and what the vision has been. Canva was founded in 2013 in Australia to make visual design accessible to everyone. It started with a drag and drop design company, and now it's a tool. This is used by 240 million active users monthly. These three friendly faces are our founders. In the middle, you can see Melanie Perkins, who is leading Canva, which is also the world's largest company built by a female. And next to her, there is our CPO. Yeah, huge congrats to that. That's something we're really proud of, by the way. And Cliff Albrecht, who is our COO. And when they started Canva as a project, the design structure was really fragmented. And they really identified that it needs to be easier and smoother and all accessible in one place. And that's where the vision came up that they wanted to empower the world to design. Yeah, and ever since then, so over a decade, that's our mission. And we really mean it. When we're saying empower the world to design, we really mean it because we are truly aware that not everywhere technology and education is as accessible as it is here today and in many parts where we have been grown up. And that's why Mel, Cliff, and Cam came up with a two-step plan to reach that goal. Step one is to become the most valuable company, which is quite an ambitious goal. And step two is not even less ambitious than that, because it's to do the most good we can. We really want to use all the value we are creating as a business and also give something back to our community. And that's what we are doing with a few initiatives for our community, NGOs, and education. Just to bring up a few examples, for the last year, we have donated 1.5 billion US dollar in product value to teachers and educations, as they can use Canva for free. On top of that, 800,000 NGOs are using Canva Pro for free. And on top of that, we are also doing some donations with some of our partners, as well as our team is giving their time back to community to do something good as well. And to achieve our mission and also step one to become the most valuable company, we have a team over 5,000 employees globally. But on top of that, we are always having in mind, while having a global vision, we truly believe that localization and a truly local approach is fundamental to achieve our goals. And if we're zooming in closer into Europe, that's exactly what we have done. So Canva has acquired 7 companies in Europe which are truly innovative in specific fields. For example, we have Flourish, which is a tool for data visualization in London, Affinity in Nottingham, Kaleido in Vienna, Smart Mockups in Prague, as well as Slides Carnival in Spain. And with that being started, it has been the innovation center of Canva as well. Innovation and local expertise to really lead towards our mission and really empower everyone around the world to design. And we are also showing that by having the EMEA lead, Duncan Clark, being the former CEO and co-founder of Flourish in the UK. One of my favorite stories is how the story of Canva started, and especially the AI story of Canva started in Europe. One of the first AI features of Canva came through an acquisition, which is called Kaleido, and basically located in Vienna, so it's really close to my heart and my identity at Canva as well. And it was basically the first tool which enabled you with Remove PG or the background remover to remove the background of images and photos with one click. And Canva was one of the first customers of Remove PG, and it was fully integrated after a time, and more people have been starting using it, until Canva acquired us in 2021. And back then, when we introduced the background remover, it was something truly life-changing and a true turnaround, because until then, it was only possible to do it with hours of work. People were working with green screens, and only people who really had the technological skills have done it. And while Remove PG was one of the first AI features of Canva, we truly believe that AI supports and accelerates our mission to empower the world to design. And it's not about a tool, it's really to democratizing design. And what I'm talking about here is basically, in the past, 99% haven't been able to communicate visually because they haven't been designer, they were lacking of creativity, but AI truly enables more people than ever before to create visual designs. And to achieve that, and also when it comes to our mission here as well, we are having 2 pillars. On the one hand, we wanted to have Canva to be really a tool which increases productivity for all of our users, which helps us to get work done more efficiently. And on the other hand, we wanted to enable creativity for everyone, which means coming up with new ideas and create visual appealing designs. And Canva brings all of these pillars together, and AI is the glue to that. With AI, productivity becomes more creative, and creativity becomes more productive. And that's why we have introduced at the beginning of the year Visual Suite 2.0, which is really the intersection between those two, and basically that point where productivity meets creativity. Now I've shared a lot of background and information because I know people really enjoy hearing that story. But what I wanted to bring to you and share with you today is really actions and examples on how you can benefit from our tools to boost your creativity and productivity. One thing is Canva's Visual Suite, where we are bringing the entire doc types we have had in the past all together. So you can create one design and don't need to move to another if you want to add another doc type. Another one is to design with data. AI is really shaping our workplace and by enhancing data-driven decision. And 75% believe that with AI, they will become better and by cleaning up their sheets, making recommendations from which chart is working perfectly to tell their story. And that's something which we wanted to solve with Canva, design with data, sorry. The last one is design with Canva AI, something which has been developed back then when I was still in generative AI and was part of the project we have shipped together. So I'm extremely proud of the work of the team there, and because it's really life-changing. A lot of people, and that's what we have heard from our users, that it's sometimes the creative process starts in one tool, and then it's hard because they're moving to another tool for execution. And that really blocks it in between and really disturbs the creative flow. And exactly that's what we wanted to solve with Canva AI. And the last one is built with Canva Code. What we are doing with Canva Code is to make it enable you to add interactive experiences into your docs and your designs. And the good thing, you don't even need to code. Yeah, but let's dive deeper what each of the features can help you in your daily life. The first one is the Visual Suite. As I said, you can use all of the doc types in one single design. It doesn't matter if we're talking about whiteboard, docs, sheets, photos, videos, everything can be combined and you don't need to look for another doc. Where is my sheet again? Where is my doc again? You can just have your whole project all in one. Here you can see exactly how it works. You just have one design and can add any format, just jumping back and forth. Imagine you're starting a project. There are usually several materials and resources. What I have done in the past when I was leading a project is that I had a lot of links back and forth to ensure everyone has everything what they need. But that now can be done with Canva Suite all in one. For example, take a look here. It's also something which happened to me before as well. I thought about, okay, I need to prepare a presentation and pitch a new idea to my team or to senior managers. I thought about starting with a presentation is the right approach, but we all know that usually writing everything down in a doc is the better approach to start. So we are starting presentation, but then we are adding a doc with all of the ideas we are having before we are moving on. Then there will be probably another step where we want to collaborate and brainstorm with the team as well. And even whiteboards can be added into one design. And if that's not enough, we can also add our social media content and designs to our, for example, if we are launching a campaign, to our design to have everything in one place. But what would be typical use cases of that? One of my favorite use cases, because I think really big potential for AI, but also increasing productivity for marketing, is marketing campaigns in one design. Imagine you are starting with a campaign briefing, which usually is a doc, but then you want to brainstorm on how the best design or how the best copy could look like, coming into a budget tracker as well as the final pitch to the person you want to pitch this. Can be your team or senior management again. So the whole marketing campaign lives in one place and you won't lose any details. On the other hand, sales strategy can be done in one design as well. Especially when it comes to sales, you're usually having forecasts, you're tracking your goals, you're presenting how good the quarter was, how good the last quarter was, and everything can now be done in one sheet. As well as board meetings as well, or if you want to pitch something to your OEC or something, update them, that can all be done in one design. You can start with a TLDR to give a high-level overview on where we are currently at, add some forecasts, add the performance, as well as the pitch deck as well. So it's easier now to really get all of your teams at the same page. It doesn't matter in which department they are. It's really, Canva all in one suite really combines everything which is relevant to marketing, finance, and everyone can have access to it. This slide is unfortunately a little bit off. But yeah, that really shows how the future of design looks and how important it is to really have transparent communication, to really be the work system in your company. Data is really fundamental and essential for storytelling and marketing, but it's often quite complex and overwhelming. When we are looking at the visual suite, and I've just shared it with you, you can see a lot of tools which really empower the world to design, but there is one minor thing missing. As data is really the key part of storytelling, and we just need to think about really great stories. Great stories are always getting stronger if there's data involved. And it doesn't matter if it's charts, forms, reports, dashboards, or anything else. Everything helps to make your story stronger. As well as for marketing, it's quite fundamental, as marketing needs have changed extremely over the last years, as user requirements are higher than ever before. Users want to have the content there where they are looking for them, as well as personalized as much as possible. And that's where data can really help scaling and helping marketing people to make it personalized, localized, and create assets which you can share on several channels. But yeah, currently it's still really complex to work with data. And one value we are living at Canva is to make complex things simple. And that's something we're really using all over our product. We want to empower everyone to design, not only experts, but every person. And the same counts for data. That's also a little bit messed up as well, but that's why we have been introducing Canva Sheets, which is the last missing piece into our visual work suite. You're wondering, how does it work in detail? You can use, for example, a Magic Studio as your campaign tracker. It's really visual appealing, it's really easy to digest, and have you ever seen a sheet which is as beautiful as what you see behind me? And of course, it's also completely suitable for the age of AI. If you're, for example, looking for some resources and data which are online available, you can just export it, import it directly into Canva Sheets and work from there. But Canva Sheets can also are easily, sorry. The slides are looking a little bit different as we have moved it from Canva slides to PowerPoint. That's why it's a little bit messed up. But yeah, really, the campaign tracker and Magic Studio really helps to make scalable campaigns as well and delivers the data insights you're looking for. You doesn't need to think about where to start anymore. because Magic Studio and Magic Insights are creating recommendations, even drag and drop charts you can use for your storytelling. On the other hand, we all know it, if we're working in Sheets, we forgot the formula or how the right formula works. But now, with Magic Studio, that's completely solved. If you don't know the right formula, you can just ask how you can calculate specific things, and it's done for you within seconds. And of course, all of that is possible also in our all-in-one visual suite. So it can be combined next to your strategy docs, marketing campaigns. You can also add visual appealing charts for your board presentation. And as I've mentioned before, the marketing needs have dramatically or extremely changed over the last decade. People want to really have content that's available for all of the channels you're using, and it's really hard to resize them all manually. But that's something we are helping with Canva Sheets as well. You can easily resize all the designs or images you are having, that you can post them all on every channel. On the other hand, now we're here. On the other hand, there's also, if you want to have a copy that's truly scalable, you can easily translate it in over 180 languages, as well as have it suitable for each of the campaigns. And the good thing here is you can either personalize it for all of your target groups, or personalize it for people to various locations, or just do an A/B testing here as well. Other than that, that's what I've mentioned as well already, is Magic Resize. You can easily create designs that are suitable for all the channels you want to play, and that truly saves time and gives you time for the things that truly matter. And one thing I already teased is that Magic Charts are the right recommendation, give you the right recommendation for your data to present it to your team at any time. I know a lot of people who are not working with data on an everyday basis are sometimes wondering what is the right chart to use to really tell the right story. And that's something you don't need to worry anymore, because Canva Sheets can help with that. On top of that, you can also use our APIs to import all of your data to Canva from your favorite data platforms and really create appealing designs in just a few clicks. And last but not least, you can also embed scrollable designs into your docs, which makes it easy to digest and really have something interactive and have this smoothly embedded in your tools. But now there's Canva AI as well, because all of the features have AI embedded. But if you want to use AI through the whole process, Canva AI is your place to go. And the solution why we came up with Canva AI is basically because we have seen that our AI products have been used over 20 billion times. And as we want to make complex things simple, we thought about how can we make AI even more accessible and intuitive. And the logical way here was Canva AI. Canva AI is your tool where you can start from ideation to having your final social media results or whatever output you're looking for. What you can see here is you want to have a design, and you just add your prompt and get 4 AI recommended designs. The good thing here is you can choose the one you like most and then start from there, either just change the colors or dive deeper and make further changes. And the good thing here is it's not only working for one-page designs, you can do it for whole presentations. The same also goes with AI-generated images. What you're seeing here is that you're just adding a prompt and adding the right image for your campaign and your use case. Also here, you're getting 4 different results, and you can easily adjust them. The good thing here is that you don't need to start with a blank page. You can just drop in your idea and can work from there and use Canva AI as a sparring partner and further iterate on the first result you have received. Another thing is something I'm using quite often, is that you can bring all of your docs and notes to create one decision doc, which is quite polished and has all the information in there. Maybe you remember some time ago when you had to create docs, strategy docs, and it was really a long way to have it fully polished and all like that. Now you can really have a first draft. If you're writing prompts in a way and providing enough details, the first result is really life-changing and you're coming to an end really quickly. And last but not least, we have Canva Code to really enable you to create interactive experiences. With Canva Code, you can basically create any kind of interactive experiences. You can, for example, what you're seeing here, you can create a map, an interactive map for a trip upcoming, and then if you're clicking at the separate dots, you will learn more about each location and why you should visit it. Yeah, we are almost at the end. I just want to summarize the key takeaways I wanted to share with you. We have entered a new era of AI where it really means that we need to use it to be more productive, which means that manual and repetitive tasks can be handed over to AI. What really counts is not that AI is taking over human creativity, but it definitely unlocks it. People have now the freedom and the time to focus on what they are best. That's definitely emotional intelligence and making complex things easier to digest. Another way, in an age of AI where everything is moving so quickly, the thing is that teams shouldn't work isolated or create one-off outputs. It's really important that everything you're working on is becoming more scalable across platforms, languages, and audiences. Scalability will define most successful organizations in the future. And the last one, it's no longer enough to create one great piece of content. As I said, the requirements in marketing has changed extremely. People want to see personalized content, so really use AI to scale, personalize, and localize all your content you are having. Thank you so much. I hope it was helpful, and many of you are taking a few takeaways and directly implementing it, hopefully with Canva in the next few days. But we are not done yet. We will continue with with an FAQ session. Also, if you have any questions, I think we might have time for that too. But we will start with a few prepared ones. So, Bara and Andrew, are you coming on stage? Cool. So, thank you so much. I have now 2 people from our Prague team joining, Bara and Andrew. Andrew is, by the way, also giving a keynote tomorrow. But we want to chat a little bit about all the content you have heard right now and how they have experienced it, how they ensure to be more creative and more productive. And yeah, I think we can start with a quick intro round. Andrew, do you want to start?
Hello, everyone. Great to be here, by the way. So yeah, I'm Andrew, and I am country lead for Canva Czech Republic. And like the history of Canva in Czech Republic is interesting because all the European offices started as an acquisition. So I was one of the co-founders of startup Canva Inc. in Prague, and since then we've been kind of building and growing the team in Prague, and we started focusing more on the region, and we are building a bunch of cool stuff in the main Canva product. So yeah, that's me.
Hello, hello. My name is Bara, and I am the content lead for 3D and mockups in Canva. So anything you see in the editor which looks like kind of 3D or in the mockup sections, that's done by us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really exciting to have you here on stage and hear about your perspective and experience. The first question is, we have talked a lot about creativity, and how AI and Canva unlocks creativity. I'm personally not a really creative person, so so Canva is a true life changer for me. But I would love to hear from you. Andrew, do you want to share a little bit about your creative journey so far?
Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I can't be considered a creative person myself, but I think that I can really appreciate like good design and creativity in general. I've been around like design through pretty much all my career, but honestly, nah, I am not a very creative person, and I suppose I shouldn't be saying this.
Sarah, what about you? Are you creative? One person needs to be creative on the panel.
And I'm like content lead, right? Honestly, I don't think I'm creative as well. But like I would say I'm not creative in like the design part. I'm visual, so I can say what looks good and what looks bad. But like I cannot brainstorm like new ideas, you know, how to create new mockups or like 3D. We have special people for that with that magical skill. But I would say I'm very creative in like solving problems. That's where I stand
I'm also
out.
creative at table solving problems, so that's how far it gets. How has it changed during your time? And I don't know, when AI was coming up, has it changed anything? Do you feel empowered to be more creative now, or?
That's a good question. But like ultimately, I think that that's a big part of our jobs. Like when you are in the management, you kind of have like other people to do the cool creative part, and you are just stuck on meetings. And and I think that's the kind of pain of doing the work we're doing. But I think that ultimately we see AI pretty much supercharging creativity and bringing ideas to life that would be otherwise very difficult. And if we see things like VO3, the new video generation model from Google, I think that it really supercharges creativity and enables like small team to do big size productions that would be otherwise like very hard.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I think it's really similar for me as well. I can remember before I was using Canva, for example, presentations, I always found it really hard to make a really nice presentation. It was basically, I always started with putting some notes on it, and then I was like, I will figure out later. And then I started using Canva, and it was before the age of AI, and I was basically just using all of the layouts and templates they are having. So I think that already empowered me to become more creative, and now with AI as my creative sparring partner, I can truly have something created, and even if it's not 100% how I like it to be, I think it's a really good foundation to work forward and iterate on it. Should we move to productivity as a topic? Yeah, what are your productivity hacks when it comes to AI? I would love to hear a few examples about Canva, but also how else you are using AI to become more productive in your everyday job.
So like Andrew said, like we are kind of managers, right? So I think our schedule looks that like we have meetings all day, and then in between we need to write like tons of messages on Slack. I think like tens to hundreds a day. And for me personally, I'm dysgraphic. So it was always really hard like to write text without like grammar errors, you know, etc. And I had to read everything like 5 times before I send it to like a larger group of people, especially when you join Canva and you need to write something to a Slack channel when there's like 2,000 people and you know you're making like grammar mistakes because of like, who I am. So when AI actually came to the picture, like I think 3 years ago, I started like using prompts, and I created prompts for like grammar checker in Chat GPT, and now I basically use it on like daily basis. I would say actually like hourly basis, where I write something super quickly and then I just pass it into the chat, and it I don't even need to check it anymore because it just prompt to my style of writing. So it sounds like me, but like, it's not missing letters or words or like these areas, which it normally went. I remember one time when we had to create like a really long doc for like leadership. I think it was around like 10, 15 pages of like pursuing somebody to, go with a project we had in mind. And I think we put it together in like 2 to 3 hours one afternoon. And it was all because of like AI, because like we had it all in our heads, but like we had to put a structure to it. We had to make it, cohesive. And like he wrote like 5 pages, I wrote 5 pages, and then it needed to sound like one person as well. And like imagine like before AI, I think it would take us like 15 pages. It could take us like 2 days maybe, like with checkings and like all of these stuff. And we put it together in like 2-3 hours, and then it just went all over Canva. And like we woke up the next day, and people actually read it like from start to finish, and they were using it like in some messages as well. So that's the grammar, but like another part I am using AI is actually data analysis. So like we have data analysts in our group as well, but like they are busy, right? And then you need to check like how the content is doing, or like what are the top keywords or categories, like what we should create next. And if you would have to wait for like data analysis, that would take like days or weeks, and I'm not patient person, let's say. But I have access to all of the CSVs. I have access to all the Excels and lookers, etc. So I can just download it, post it into the chat, and like it's my own personal data analyst. I just tell it what I need like to get out of that, and it does it in like a couple of seconds. And that's a huge one for me.
Maybe like productivity-wise, I would kind of zoom out from tools. And I think there are like 2 main things when it comes to like personal productivity, right? I think the most important thing to be productive is actually like do things you enjoy doing. Because if you enjoy doing the thing, you will kind of naturally have a tendency to just push through and do the thing. And I think that there is the second part where I think you inevitably end up in a stage where you just have like so many things to do, and you can't fit that into your day, right? And I don't think that the game is just to make like your kind of day bigger and do more things and be more efficient and squeeze out every minute. But I think the game is to figure out like what are the most important things you need to do in a week, and just do that. And getting better and figuring out like what those 3 things are, what those 3 things are that kind of brings the most impact, I think is the biggest like productivity hack. And I'm kind of keeping this whole like never-ending to-do list where I kind of do this, like found out 3 things that are the most important. And what inevitably ends up happening that a lot of things that I never find out time to finish are actually no longer relevant in 3 weeks. So I think like the biggest productivity hack, like figure out the most important thing that needs to happen in a week and just do this one.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I think that's more on a higher level, how to become more productive without using anything, which is super important because prioritization, I think, is the key to really work efficiently as well. And Bara, thank you so much also from what you have shared as well. I can only double down on that one. I think it's especially if you are working in a language which you haven't been grown up with, it's a true life changer, especially all of the decision docs, strategy docs we need to write. It's way, way quicker than before. But I want to dive a little bit deeper here as well, because I know you're also working more deeply with AI as well and more complex things, which makes your life easier. So can you share something here as well?
So I can maybe say more from like the content perspective.
Would love to hear that.
And I think what changed like in the last years, because I think one thing great about Canva is that once like ChatGPT was launched, everybody got access in the company. And I think it was like 3 years back, like something like that. And then suddenly the new ones started coming, like Claude and others. And like Canva always gave like enterprise access to like all the Canvanas, how we call our people there. So we had a chance to like start using AI from the beginning. And I think like it evolved, right, during the years, and we've seen the changes, but since we've been working with it, it just got so much easier. So one thing we've been using in like the content, and if I look back when I started Canva like 3.5 years ago, I remember in content we were doing many repetitive tasks all the time, and it was like renaming files, right, and just like finding files, etc. And we always needed the engineering work. So we were trying to push engineers if they could find any capacity to give us like half a day of their precious time to help the content to be more like effective and automate some of our tasks. And they refused most of the time. They were like, we have like better things to do, like, you know, like.
Other priorities, I guess.
Yeah, basically they were saying like, our work is much more important than yours. And so that was not easy for us. And once AI was launched, we started using it like creating scripts. So like if you look at like daily tasks from whatever you do repeatedly, like daily or weekly or something, there's a big chance you can like automate it with AI. So we started with like scripts, so very easy, like you have folders and files basically in your computer, and you need to rename them all, or you need to move them to like another folders and sort them by some system. It's so very easily done by like Claude, where you just write down what you want, and it creates you basically like a script which you put in a terminal which you have in your computer, and it's done. So something we waited for like weeks or months for like engineers we can do now by ourselves. But I think like that was at the beginning where AI was just launching, but now 3 years like later, we just started creating like a big library of like 3D elements in Canva. And we don't have that many people to actually work on that. And we wanted to create basically like 3D icons. So something you take from SVG files, from like graphic design, and you basically create a 3D out of that. And I think we wanted to create like 2,000 elements, and we asked like outside company to do it for us. And they charge us, or like the quote was like around $200,000 for like 2,000 elements. And we're like, nah, there's like another way how we can do that. So like a couple of people from my team just put their heads together, and they use Claude, and they basically first figure out the process. So that's always like the beginning. You need to know the process, and then you can prompt the AI. And yeah, they put it into the Claude, and it wrote them a script. And like these 2,000 elements, which was quoted for like 200,000, they basically like automated in like 2 days, and now you basically run it through scripts, and you can create 2,000 elements, I think, in like 4 hours.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're considering it's not even that you are getting what you need quicker and be really more productive by doing it, but in that case, you also have saved a huge amount of money as well.
So much.
Amazing.
And like I think that's it's with anything basically you do, what you need to have at the beginning is the process. So you always need the human factor where you need to figure out the process of how it's created, but once it's done, you can like basically put it in the AI, and like it creates the script for you.
Yeah, completely agree. That's what I usually like to say, that really in the age of AI, it's really important, and really successful teams are combining workflows with innovation.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that's one of the biggest advantages of AI, right? So there's like a lot of conversations if AI is replacing engineers and blah, blah, blah. But I think the real, like, huge thing that is happening is that AI gives like other people the power to write code. So writing code is no longer just the thing that engineers do. And I think that has like massive consequences in teams, right? Well, because if you combine people that has some sort of domain knowledge, like you are a 3D designer, you are a person working in marketing and you want to do marketing automations, you are someone working in like HR who needs to do like bunch of like complicated stuff and connect different tools. Like previously you would need like engineers and other people to kind of build those and make you more efficient. But now with like the tools like Claude and ChatGPT, you pretty much all you need is your domain knowledge, and you are no longer required to have like coding skills to make your work and life efficient. And some sort of the democratization of like building things and empowering everyone to kind of build stuff is huge. And I think that's really changing the way how companies and teams work. So yeah, I think it's a big one.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Something which I want to double down again is what Bara just said, is like that we have access at Canva and all AI tools. We are getting access right at the beginning. And I think that's an advice which each and every one of you should do as well, to really use all the AI tools right when they are getting out and learn how to use them and practice, because it's something you need to learn as well. You won't receive the perfect result you're aiming for the first time you're using it. And I think that really be a competitive advantage, or maybe even a requirement at some time if you're using AI in the right way as well.
Yeah, and I think that like a lot of companies like Canva are trying to be like AI first, which is some sort of buzzword that keeps kind of floating around. But I think that what makes the most sense in every company, regardless if it's like small startup or big teams, is really make sure that everyone in the teams is enabled and empowered to work with AI tools, right? So what we are actually doing, and we are no longer a small startup. We have like over 5,000 people across like 5 continents, like 20 plus offices. And we are doing these like company-wide hackathons when pretty much the whole company kind of stops for a week and everyone builds with AI. It's not just for engineers. Like usually hackathons were previously engineering thing, but now we have like entire team basically building things. And yeah, the ability to kind of give everyone freedom to build and play with stuff is essentially making teams more efficient.
Yeah, 100%. One question for both of you as well. If there is someone in the room as well who hasn't been using AI on an everyday to be more productive and more creative, what would be your advice to start using and getting familiar with the tools as well, and where to start, because there's still so many AI tools, it's still quite fragmented, but where should they start to use AI in their daily work to become more efficient?
Well, if it's daily work, then I would just recommend ChatGPT. If you want to do scripts, then it's Claude, for sure. But like, if you've never seen AI before, I would just recommend to start talking to it, which sounds quite ridiculous. But like, let's say you're dealing with some problem, right? Like you need to solve something. Just put it in the AI and ask, what do they think about think about it, or like, what could be the solutions? Like start brainstorming with the AI. Like, I think that's the easiest one to start, because like then you can figure out what it can actually do. And I would just recommend to start as soon as possible, because what we've seen in the past 3 years since its launch is that it's evolving, and it's evolving really quickly. And you can see like that, like what it couldn't handle, like let's say a year ago, it can handle now. So for example, like Excel sheets, before it could handle like 15 rows, now it's like thousands. And so when you know something didn't work half a year ago, it doesn't mean it will not work now. But like I always take like chat as like really easy brainstorming tool. So like when you need to start with some idea, I just put like all the docs, all the documents there, anything, presentations, all the informations I have, and it gives me basically points where I can start brainstorming and actually start using my own brain and like bring the creativity there. But yeah, I would just use it as my brainstorming buddy for everything.
Best sparring partner.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's super important to approach it with like some sort of curious mindset, right? Because there's like a lot of people who tried like free ChatGPT couple months, years ago, tried one prompt, like they got shit result, and was like, nah, AI is shit, I'm not gonna use it ever again, right? And I know a lot of these people. And actually I feel like that there are two things. A, the AI is evolving so rapidly, so what wasn't working like 6 months ago is now completely different. And B, I think it's important to try kind of make things work and adjust your mindset to kind of fit more in like AI way of thinking. Because if you just try one thing, it's not giving you the results. It's not that the AI tool is bad. It's maybe you are just using it wrong. And I think that like investing the time in like playing with the thing and figuring out what's the best use of like this tool or that tool or something like that is probably the kind of best investment you can do now when we see this huge kind of shift in ways of working.
What was your biggest wow effect when you have been using AI? Was there something, and I know that's a really hard question, but was there something at some point where you tried to do something with AI, where you were like, yeah, probably it's not working out, but then it delivered such an amazing result, which you have never believed?
I remember my like, oh wow moment, right? So there was some conversation with engineers, everyone was trying to solve some sort of bug. The conversation went on and on and on, and no one has any sort of idea like what's going on. And I kind of took screenshot of this whole conversation and dump it into, I think it was ChatGPT back then. And like, it asked me a bunch of questions, and it gave me solution in like 5 minutes. And the solution worked. I kind of posted it like to engineers, and they kind of look into it, and after 30 minutes they came in and it was like, yeah, you're right. This is the fix. And I was like, oh shit. We spent like days of like senior engineers discussing the problems. And what I did is just like pasted the whole like problem into AI and got solution immediately. And I'm not a great engineer. Like there are way better people like that know the problem space, and I was able to solve it, right? So imagine what would happen if actually like those engineers use those tools in this way. I think it was kind of supercharge their creativity in a big way. So that was some sort of my like oh wow moment, and I think that with these tools, everyone needs to have their own like wow moment. And then you really start investing time in figuring out like how it may work for you.
I just realized mine. I didn't know, but yeah, there was the time when we were writing the doc, and I needed to give there like a proof in the doc why instead of like hiring contractors for some work, we need to basically buy out, elements from partners, from partnerships, and why it's more like cost efficient and like time efficient, etc. And that's quite a lot of research, right? So you need to find out like average cost per contractor, then how much time it would take them to create, let's say, one element, then like how many do we need, etc. And let's be honest, I didn't have time for that. So that was the first time I found out about deep research at ChatGPT. So I just prompted with data, like what I need to find out, and like who doesn't know deep research at ChatGPT just goes through the whole internet. It just searched every page, every like I think that I did, and like every conversation that's happening out there. And it takes much longer than like normal conversations. I think it took like around half an hour before it gave me results. But like instead of spending like honestly like days on like these like research about like how much does it cost, like it took half an hour. And I realized that like actually like you don't really need to search through the internet. You just need to use the AI efficiently, and it gives you what you need, and it just saves you so much time.
Yeah, really cool. Thank you so much for sharing. And Andrew, really impressive, the bug fixing. You haven't told me before.
He was so happy about that.
I can imagine.
And one thing, it was like 11 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah, we still have a few minutes left. Do we want to open it up for questions? Are there any questions from the audience? We have started with quite heavy product overview of Canva. Now we have talked about AI, productivity, and creativity. Now my question to you, does anyone have questions you always wanted to ask? It can be something to Bara or Andrew to get to know about their experience, or also some kind of questions about Canva or how we are doing things. It seems like there aren't any questions. Do you want to share anything? One final statement from each of you? anything you would like to say besides promoting your keynote tomorrow?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm doing keynote tomorrow at 1, so definitely stop by. It's going to be a fun one. And I think that, in general, if you are trying to figure out how to make your work more efficient, I would definitely deep dive into like bunch of AI tools. And if you don't want to figure out like what is the best AI tool out there, I think what we are doing at Canva is pretty much bringing everything to one platform. So you don't have to like register and spend time trying a whole bunch of different platforms or tools. You can pretty much start using Canva and try kind of what's out there with like video generation, image generation, like text and design editing. We are launching 3D generation, which is supposed to be secret, but we are kind of launching this in a couple of weeks, so I think I can share it now. And I think there is kind of a lot of things happening with with the stuff we are kind of doing around AI. So if you don't know how to start, I would actually do a shameless plug and advise you to try Canva for free and start figuring out how we can like supercharge your creativity.
And we have one thing, but it's not about Canva. I think Andrew did enough promo for that one. But it's just one thing I came across like over the years. Like people, like many people are afraid that AI will basically erase their jobs, right? That it just comes and suddenly there's not gonna be like job for you because like an AI is there. And like one thing is, I honestly don't think it's true. I think like what AI brings is it accelerates your creativity and it helps you to work on stuff which are fun for you, and it erases all of the like daily tasks which you really like need to click through, you know, because it's just necessary for everyday like work life. So it just enables you to do more and to do the fun stuff basically which you love to do. So I would recommend not to be like afraid of it, but like use it to your advantage as much as possible. And it can actually make your life so much more fun in work and outside of work, honestly, as well.
Yeah, that's a really nice sentence for ending that conversation. So thank you so much for joining me on stage. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. If you want to use one AI tool, you can test Canva Pro for free. If you're coming to the first row, we have a few vouchers to test Canva Pro for free for 3 months if you are a new customer. And they also have some other small gifts as well. So just meet my colleagues in the front and pick something up that you are always recognized on how to become more productive and creative. Thank you so much for joining and enjoy your evening.